Hey everybody, so glad to be here with you guys today. As you can tell, I am not Scott Royal Smith. Scott is actually out this week. He is working and developing some ideas and different products so that we can make sure you guys are protecting your wealth and your assets in the best way possible. So I'm covering for him this week. My name is Megan Templeton. I am one of the attorneys that works alongside Scott here to answer any client questions, do client document prep, develop products as they come out, and also just make sure that I'm serving as a point for you guys for anything you may need. I get questions all the time of like, well, what exactly can I come to you with? And we do focus on asset protection, but we also can work outside of that scope if that's something you need. We do an hourly rate, and so I do a lot of off-the-wall questions. And so as I was thinking about this week and trying to figure out, what should I talk to you guys about, because I know Scott does this every day. He's had a lot of really, really great guests on it, and so I don't want to just parrot back what you guys have already heard. And so one of the things I think I'm going to focus on is thinking about the Series LLC, which is one of our main products that we recommend. We tell investors, it's great, you can hold properties in separate child series, but one of the things that I also want to stress is you can actually hold different type of investments in that Series LLC as well, which is going to give you a broader way to protect your assets and have a complete package so that you'll be able to protect them no matter what. And so one of the things that I do specifically is working on putting those different kind of investments into the Series LLC. So things like that are going to include brokerage accounts. It's going to include notes if you are a note holder. We've done trademarks recently, copyrights. If you've got intellectual property, that's definitely something we can move in there. Basically, what I want to encourage you guys is anything you own that you feel is worth protecting and you want to make sure you're including it into your structure, let us know. It may be something we haven't done before, but I guarantee you we can figure it out. And if we can't figure it out, we can figure out a way to make sure it's protected otherwise. And so one of the things that I'm particularly passionate about that I work a lot on that fits into that a little bit of a different investment category is Airbnb. So we currently have quite a few clients who are going through the process of getting set up with us so they can get their Airbnb up and running. We've also successfully done quite a few, and myself included. And the thing I love about Airbnb is, like I said, it's a different revenue model. So when you've got the fix and flips, you've got the buy and holds, people are pretty familiar with that. We're getting a lot of questions of, okay, well, this Airbnb thing, I think it's really interesting. I've got properties that may work for it. How do I make money off of it? And what do I need to be thinking about as I get into it? And that's what we're here to help with. So kind of just want to start from the top and do a brief overview of what does it look like to start thinking about becoming an Airbnb host? What are the legal ramifications of it? What tax ramifications of it do I have? What questions do I need to be asking? And then, how can I get that assistance to get going on it? So those are the questions I really want to focus on today. So we'll start from the top. And the question is, how do I know if I want to become an Airbnb host? And so that's an interesting one because there's a lot of things you want to think about. Because it is such a different model than if you are renting out a property to a third party, you're going to want to first step back and think, am I comfortable having people in my home, if it's your personal residence, or if it's a property you've bought or renting specifically for an Airbnb, how comfortable with having that many people rotating in and out am I going to be? Because you have to be very careful. You can't set a lot of parameters on who comes and goes because of the legal ramifications of those laws. So you want to be careful and know going into it, am I comfortable with this? The second thing you're going to ask yourself is, do I have the right personality for this? With fix and flips and with, even buy and holds, you have to have a personality that can interact with people, but it's a little more stepped back because you're either going to be flipping that property quickly, so you're only dealing for a small transaction, or with the buy and holds, you're ultimately hoping you're not having to interact with tenants too much, because if you are, then there's most likely a problem. With Airbnb, it's different because you're going to be getting them set up. There's a lot of communication on the front end to get them in the home. So you want to make sure you've got a personality that's comfortable having that amount of touch with another individual because it is a high touch field in that you are speaking to them so frequently, you are checking in on them. The next thing you're going to think about is, as an Airbnb host, particularly if it's your personal residence, how do you want to run it? If you're casual about it, you may not make a whole lot of money. And I think this is applicable to other types of investment classes as well. But particularly, am I going to run this like a business? Is this something where I'm going to invest in getting the nice furniture? I'm going to get my legal structures in place. I'm going to have a CPA who's reviewing the tax implications of this for me. And I would say that if you're not willing to treat it like a business, it's going to become more hassle than is worth it. Airbnb is incredibly fulfilling. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great folks. But if you're not going to treat it like a business, you're ultimately not going to make a lot of money and you're going to burn out. It's like any other area of real estate. To make money, you got to pay time. So that's one thing you want to think about. The next thing you're going to think about is, what properties am I going to be buying and how am I going to structure that? Do I want to rent my personal residence? Do I want to buy properties in Airbnb them? Do I want to rent properties by myself and then sublet them? And that brings into a lot of interesting cases into it is, can I sublet? And I do think that's a really interesting model, and I could do an entire live show probably just around leasing properties to then sublet for Airbnb, because I'm doing more and more of those. And so I think it's really interesting, but we'll keep going for today just to do a basic overview. And so the next thing you're going to think about, am I even allowed to have this Airbnb? So do I have a homeowners association that may prevent it? What do the legislations in my city and my state and my county look like? Because when it comes to licensing and things like that, you could be at a dead stop anyways, and it's a lot of research you want to do on the front end before you invest too much time and energy into it. You're also going to want to think about, am I going to be insured and how much am I going to insure? Am I going to have an umbrella policy for this? There is a little bit of risk, potentially a lot, on how you structure it with being an Airbnb host. And I think that is one of the pitfalls that people come into is, they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to be an Airbnb host. It's similar to Uber. When I did that before, I'm just going to hop on and start doing it. You really want to take some time to sit back and think, what could go wrong here? How big could the damages be? What structures do I need to put in place to make sure I am protecting myself? So those are the things that I would think about on the front end of Airbnb. So once you've answered those questions for yourself, you want to do a little market research. You know, Airbnb, because it is so flexible, you can do it in a lot of different areas, but you want to make sure that you're putting your Airbnbs in an area that you're going to have a high turnover rate. So it's different than some of these buy and holds where typically you can go into a college town, purchase some homes around the campus, and you're pretty assured those are going to be rented out. With Airbnb, it's a little more niche. You're going to have to look into, is this a city center where people are going to be vacationing here? Is this a place where, if it is a college town, parents are going to want to stay? Who's going to be wanting to invest their time into this Airbnb? I have a lot of clients who say, you know, I live in rural Texas. What can I do an Airbnb out here? Absolutely. You can make that work. You're going to just have to be very intentional about what rural area do most people go to? How are you going to market that? How are you going to stand out? If you're in a city center, it's a little easier because there is more high traffic, but that's not to say it can't be done in other areas. You just want to be intentional about the properties you're purchasing or that you're leasing. And so that would be my first step, is do a good bit of market research. I know, for example, here in Birmingham, we're having an explosion of Airbnb rentals, and they're doing so very well. Being from here in Birmingham, Alabama, though, I can tell you that there are certain areas of town you do not want to buy an Airbnb in. So if I were an outside investor from California, reading the reports that Birmingham's doing well for this purpose, I may just click and go through the thing and say, okay, well, this is great. This is down on 41st Street. I want to purchase this property and turn it into an Airbnb. Where someone who's on the ground or a real estate agent who's more familiar with it will be able to tell you, you're actually going to be in a very bad part of town with this. You don't want to proceed this way. You won't be able to keep it full enough to make any profit. So make sure you're doing your market research. The next thing you want to do, and I'll kind of cap here because I think I'm going a little bit long, but you want to make sure you're getting all of your legal structures in place to build a successful Airbnb business. So we touched on a little earlier, you can run an Airbnb business out of a series LLC. You can have a traditional LLC for it that does your operations. And one of the pushback I get sometimes is, well, you know, if I go through Airbnb or HomeAway or any of these home rental services, they give me a little bit of protection, so why do I need an LLC? That is true. You're going to get a bit of protection just by going through their platform. But it's like anything else. A company is not going to protect you as well as you're going to be able to protect yourself. You know what your individual needs are. You're going to know how you want to structure it. And that's what you want to focus on, is how can I build my own structure that's unique to me, that's going to offer the most amount of protection I can possibly have. The chances of you getting into some sort of scuffle around your Airbnb are high, just because the turnover rate is so high. You're constantly having people coming and going. So looking at that, you need to start thinking about which LLC structure is right for me. Do I want to try to remain anonymous, which is difficult in Airbnb business because, like I said, it is so high touch, you are interacting. But there are ways that can be done if that's what you desire. You're also going to want to look at, what business licenses do I need to get? That's really important because they vary so much from place to place. For example, when I work with clients that are in the Austin or Houston area, their business license requirements are very, very different from here where I work out of in Birmingham, Alabama. So you want to work with a qualified professional to make sure that you are staying up to date on what those requirements are, how do I remain in compliance, what fees do I need to pay, things like that. And that's something that we here at Royal Legal can really help you with, or another qualified attorney you may know in the area. The next thing you're going to think about is taxes. You're going to have to pay taxes for these Airbnb properties, and Airbnb has recently made that a lot easier for you in that they're collecting portions of it. There are going to be taxes outside of that, though, that you need to be aware of also. So depending on where you are having properties, like I said, get with a qualified professional, whether it be us or someone else you know. Obviously, we'd always love for you to work with us. We love having our clients around, but get with someone and understand the tax implications of this. CPAs are a great point of reference for this as well, and they can also help you make the decision of, if I'm going to run an Airbnb business, should I make it an S Corp as well? So there's a lot of considerations that go into this. It's not just, man, I'm watching, my buddy down the street make a lot of money on Airbnb. I think I'm going to get into it really quick. You got to do a little bit more legwork on the front end. You're going to have to get markets research. You're going to have to figure out, is this actually the right way of investing for me? And then you're going to have to get those legal protections in place and make sure your operating agreement is specific enough. Make sure your leases are specific enough. That's something else that comes up a good bit. People say, well, can I just pull a generic agreement down from the internet and have clients sign it? I highly recommend against it. Those are so generic that you're not going to have the protections you need in place. And that is one of the things we do. We specialize in taking those Airbnb rental agreements, customizing them for your property, your city, your state, your business, because you want to make sure you're putting in there exactly what you need for your protection at the end of the day. So these are the things you're going to want to think about with Airbnbs. I would love to help anyone who wants to get started on it. Like I said, I'm very passionate about it. I've seen it be very successful in my life personally, also in the life of our clients. I know it's a great way to turn profit, and it is a different model than traditionally the buy and hold and fix and flip. So it gives you a little bit of a new fun avenue to make some income on. So with that being said, one of the things we're doing at Royal Legal right now is we are offering a free LLC. And I know that sounds crazy. You're thinking, what's the catch? There is no catch. It is a free LLC. We will even include the filing fees and the postage for you. We want to make sure that as our clients, as our friends, you guys are covered. You have what you need to make your dreams come true. Because, one of my favorite quotes is, those without vision perish, and those without protections perish. And so if you've got the vision, we want to make that come to light. We want to give you the protection needs, and that starts with an LLC at most levels. And so this one's free. There's no reason not to get it. All you do is come onto our system. You can go to royallegalsolutions.com/free LLC. You can send us a message here on Facebook. We'll get you hooked up. However you want to connect with us, do it. If you're thinking, maybe I want to start an Airbnb business, go ahead and set up an LLC for it. You can change your mind, but go ahead and have that protection in place while it's free so that if you get ready and you decide it's the right time, you can take that leap. Any questions you have, we here at Royal are happy to help. I'm personally very, very happy to help on anything you need. My email is megan@royallegalsolutions.com. Anytime you need anything, reach out. And thanks so much for tuning in today. It's been a joy to be with you guys. I know it's probably a little different than when Scott comes on, and so it's nice to be able to hop on and actually show my face to all of you guys who I work with and just see how I can best help you. So like I said, please reach out. Please get that free LLC and let us help make what you think is going to be your long-term plan to make sure that you grow your dream, your assets. Let us help put that in place for you. Thanks, guys.